I pushed the door open just as Luna threw herself at my husband, her face flushed as she kissed him. The bystanders cheered them on. Marcus, just say yes. She's going abroad, you can't let her leave with regrets. In the dim light, he didn't pull away. I scoffed coldly, Luna, you don't want to be a mistress, do you? Get a divorce first. Marcus lazily lifted his eyelids, sneering, are you threatening me with divorce? A chill wind swept through the hall, and my heart felt like it was squeezed by an invisible hand. Every beat brought a stinging pain. It's not a threat, it's consideration. Luna had been his secretary for 5 years. He brought her to family dinners and business galas when rumors were flying. Marcus said, I'm not interested in pursuing someone so close to me. Luna has a baby face, she looks underage. I'd feel guilty, taking advantage of her. A secretary is just a secretary, and that's where it ends. But his words didn't reassure me. I could see that Luna was special to him. Witnessing this today became the final straw. Suddenly, I was pushed from behind, lost my balance, and fell to the ground. My engraved silver locket crushed beneath his foot. The crowd erupted in laughter. I hesitantly stood up. Luna lifted her delicate face, revealing a pair of cute canines. Mrs. Hayes is a cripple. He looked down at the person in his arms. He didn't refute her. Marcus carried Luna into the car and sped away. I stood in the cold wind, clutching the engraved silver locket he had once given me, tears unconsciously falling. People whispered among themselves. Dave Eisen's car arrived. He bowed respectfully. Madam, Luna is Miller's daughter. Mr. Hayes is doing all this for the company, he's just playing along with her. Please don't take it to heart. The scenery outside the window blurred as we sped by, and I remained silent the whole way. Just as we neared home, I finally voiced the long-held unspoken question. 3 months ago, on my birthday, he didn't come back. Was he just playing along with Luna then too? For the first time, Dave Eisen's voice betrayed a hint of panic. That day, Luna broke her leg, and Mr. Hayes had a specialist team flown in overnight from Germany. It's really not what you think, his voice abruptly cut off. A beam of high-beam headlights suddenly pierced the night, blinding my eyes. I stared at the dazzling glare, my throat felt like it was stuffed with cotton. I couldn't breathe. It seems he really cares about his secretary, Luna. The group chat buzzed with notifications. Marcus' friends clearly hadn't recovered from the party yet. Marcus is taking his little secretary on a destination wedding to Maui, Hawaii tomorrow. He's really devoted. Do you think Grace will actually get a divorce? Let's make a bet. They were discussing animatedly. Marcus sent a voice message, his voice lazy. Just a bluff, nothing to bet on. The others agreed. I think Grace is just Marcus' dog. No matter how fiercely she barks, she won't dare to bite. What hope would a cripple like her have without Marcus? When the group's focus gradually shifted to my disability, he slowly spoke up to stop them. Let's not chat anymore. Luna's drunk and seems to have slipped in the bathroom. I'm going to check on her. The group erupted in cheers. I sat numbly all night, feeling as if I had returned to that most desperate day, a year ago. I had once been the principal dancer of the national troupe, leading numerous classic performances on stage. A year ago, to save Marcus, my left ankle was severely injured. The top doctors in the country repeatedly examined the scans, but ultimately shook their heads. No one could guarantee I'd ever step onto a stage again. They said if we could get Klaus' specialist team from Germany to operate, the success rate might reach 80%. A day later, my parents were in a plane crash. In despair, I jumped from the building, but Marcus clutched my hand tightly at the window. He said, Mom and Dad are gone, but I'm still alive. If you dare to let go of my hand, I'll chase you to the gates of hell and drag you back. See the light-up sign at the art center across the street. I, Marcus, swear I'll make that spotlight shine on you again. Count to 3. If you don't come back up, I'll jump with you. I believed him and climbed back up. We grew up as childhood sweethearts, finding comfort in each other's presence, relying heavily on one another. With conservative surgical treatment, I inherited my parents' shares in Hayes, fully supporting him to become CEO. However, Once he had access to Hayes resources, he became swamped with work and didn't have time to find a German specialist for me. Returning to the stage became a distant dream. After countless compromises, the principal dancer became a cripple who could only live in a mansion, clinging desperately to him. I hated Marcus for his infidelity, but I hated myself even more. Marcus returned the next afternoon. There was a lipstick stain on his collar. He pretended not to know, and I pretended not to see. When he saw the divorce agreement on the bedside table, his brow furrowed. She's going abroad anyway, what's there to argue about with her? I actually didn't want to argue with her, so I decided to lend her the title of Mrs. Hayes for a few days. I calmly took out the suitcase I had packed for him last night. Have fun. He opened it, and a box of condoms fell out from a corner. His dark, almond-shaped eyes studied me as if he was seeing me for the first time. Then, he smiled in satisfaction and hugged me, kissing me. A wave of nausea churned in my stomach and rose to my throat. I abruptly pushed him away and ran into the bathroom, vomiting violently. Dirty. His face immediately darkened. Grace, what do you mean? A phone call came in, and his tone instantly softened. Luna, what is it? My gaze involuntarily fell on his face. I didn't know what the other person said, but the corners of his lips lifted slightly, his gaze doting and focused. Just like when we first fell in love, he used to look at me that way too. I didn't know when his tenderness toward me had become an act of charity. As this thought emerged, my nose stug, and I took a deep breath, forcing the tears back. Okay, I'm leaving now. His attention was no longer on me. He closed the suitcase, ready to leave. I held the divorce agreement and blocked the doorway. For a reputation, you should sign it. He signed without hesitation. When I come back, I'll make it up to you with a destination wedding too. I hung the engraved silver locket on Buddy, the stray dog Dave Eisen had adopted. Considering the divorce proceedings hadn't been finalized yet, I hadn't blocked Marcus' contact information. That night, I packed my suitcase and went to Willow, a town 50 kilometers away. There was a 2-story house my grandmother left me there. Few people knew that it was also my home. As I walked out, I met Dave Eisen. His gaze fell on my suitcase. So late, madam, where are you going? My throat tightened, and I feigned calmness. The mansion feels empty, I'm staying with my best friend for a few days. Dave Eisen called Marcus. Madam already knows you arranged for German specialists to treat Luna's leg. Marcus paused, then impatiently said, so what if she knows? Does she think she can live without me? Madam has left home. Left home? Where would she go? Worst case, she'll stay at Sarah's for a few days. Sarah was my best friend. Dave Eisen fell silent. Let her throw her tantrum, I'll be back in a few days. I cleaned the house, searched for jobs online, trying my best to keep busy. I wanted to file a lawsuit to get back the assets I'd earned during our marriage. However, resume after resume, once they knew I was disabled, I received no response. That night, thunder and lightning raged, the light bulb blew out, and my injured ankle ached and swelled. Every rainy day, Marcus used to apply a hot compress with a towel. Those memories, like a flood, quickly engulfed me. It was like a festering wound. Whenever a memory was triggered, it would bring piercing pain. I suffered terribly, crying in tears in the desolate night. My phone suddenly lit up, messages kept popping up in the group chat. My gaze uncontrollably drifted to the light. A photo of a hotel bed covered in rose petals, various lingerie scattered around. They were discussing Marcus' wedding night. Marcus, you are lucky tonight. Look at Marcus, eager as hell. Seems like Grace never satisfied him before. At this moment, Marcus lazily said, Grace is disabled and can't do many things, I've had enough for a long time. Tonight, I'm going to really show off. This message was quickly recalled. A moment later, Marcus called. I cried out in anguish. I grabbed my phone, slammed it hard on the floor, stomped on it, and smashed it with a chair. It smoked and went silent, but it wasn't satisfying enough. My eyes darted around, and I picked up the utility knife on the table, aiming it at my wrist. Lightning lit up the night like day, and the yard gate was forcefully pounded on. I ignored it, but the knocking didn't stop. The rain's too heavy, my car broke down. Could I borrow a place to stay? I snapped back to reality, my hands trembling, gasping for breath. The door opened. The person outside stood ramrod straight, his suit clinging to his body. He held a flimsy black umbrella, his knuckles distinct. He wiped the water from his face and grinned. "Hey, sis. It's your older brother, Alex." I paused, and in the intermittent flashes of light, I noticed his sharp jawline and brownish pupils. A hint of sharpness beneath a lazy demeanor. Alex. After all these years, he only looked more mature on the outside, his playful demeanor was still there when he spoke. His grandmother was my grandmother's neighbor, and we played together every summer when we were little. His grandmother passed away when he was in high school. I hadn't seen him since. I never expected to meet again like this. I stepped aside. He strode in without ceremony, as if he owned the place. "Did your light bulb burn out? I knew you'd be scared, so I came specifically to protect you." He stood on a chair to change the light bulb, and I held the flashlight for him. He said casually, "I saw you submitted your resume online. What's wrong? Did the Hayes family go bankrupt? We're divorced." "Oh, like that, huh?" I don't know if it was my imagination, but looking at him under the flashlight beam, he was grinning like a goofball. "Done." He flipped the circuit breaker, and the house immediately brightened, feeling warm and inviting. Can I use your bathroom?" I gestured him in. A moment later, he came out with messy short hair, wearing my floral dress. His sculpted ABS were faintly visible beneath it, and I was stunned. He awkwardly clutched his chest, stomach, and groin. I burst out laughing. All right, when you stay at someone else's place, you've got to sacrifice a bit of your image." He went into the kitchen with his head held high. He fiddled around for a bit and brought out 2 bowls of Grandma's comforting pasta dish. Feeling depressed, I hadn't eaten all day. I originally thought I had no appetite, but my hand acted before my brain could decide. Taking the first bite, it tasted just like Grandma's cooking. Tears immediately flowed like a faucet with a broken valve, I couldn't stop them. Alex awkwardly wiped away my tears, mumbling a lot of nonsense. Seeing my silence, he suddenly cupped my face. "Did that Marcus kid bully you? I lines make a call and bankrupt his family. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Do you really think you some kind of big shot CAO?" He coughed twice and changed the subject. "I saw on German news that you retired from performing due to illness. What happened?" I sighed. "It's a long story." I prepared to eat my pasta, about to have a heart-to-heart talk. My malfunctioning phone suddenly made a jarring sound. "Grace, why aren't you answering your phone? Even throwing a tantrum should have limits, right? Luna didn't even do anything to you." I instinctively grabbed the chair, wanting to make that voice disappear. A slender hand snatched the phone first, and started yelling into it. "You spineless jerk, are you spewing garbage or just hot air? You call and start barking like a rabid dog. Didn't your mother teach you how to talk to people? So what if she blocked you? Don't you know what disgusting things you've done? Your skin is thicker than a rhinoceros, even cannonballs couldn't pierce it. And you say she's throwing a tantrum? If it were me, I'd have slapped you across the face already. Luna didn't do anything to her." "The way you two act together, even flies would bow down to you." "Pa, you are bad news." The phone was malfunctioning and wouldn't turn off, so after yelling, he just pulled out the SIM card. He gave me a new phone and helped me block Marcus, and everyone related to him. "I lines handle the rest of your divorce proceedings." The sharpness he inadvertently revealed as he spoke surprised me 1,000 miles away. Marcus was on a video call with his friends, in the group chat, Luna in his arms. The call to Grace's other phone was on speaker. He was desperate to prove to everyone that Grace would cry, and apologize to him. However, Alex's words completely dumbfounded everyone. Not only had Grace blocked Marcus, but she had also found a tough guy from the north. Judging by his fighting spirit, Marcus was no match for him at all. Marcus' face looked grim. By the time he realized what was happening, they had hung up. When he tried calling again, the phone was off. His eyes turned gloomy, he no longer had his playful demeanor. Luna caressed his chest, her eyes seductive. Marcus, that person must have been a delivery guy Grace called just to make you jealous. You lose if you take it seriously. Grace walked with a limp and she barely left the house for fear of being mocked. She even had other board members represent her at board of directors meetings so she couldn't possibly know any other men. That man was at most just a delivery guy for her and Sarah thinking this. Marcus' gloom vanished. I'll make her realize the consequences of toying with me. Marcus took Luna to various scenic spots, taking photos in intimate poses. The photos flooded the group chat, all filled with praise. When he felt enough time had passed, he said condescendingly, Grace, I'll give you one more chance. Photoshop the photos of Luna and me nicely. As long as Luna is satisfied, I'll let bygones be bygones. After saying that, he wanted to at Grace, but found he couldn't find her. At this moment, someone weakly said, Marcus. Grace left the group. Damn it. Marcus finally realized something. I had to pester him for ages just to get added to his friends' group chat to assert my dominance. No matter how fiercely we argued, even if I blocked someone on WeChat, I wouldn't leave this group. After I became disabled, his friends' attitudes toward me also changed. Subtle sarcasm, tolerated by him, escalated to open ridicule. My quiet and reserved presence in the group gave Marcus the illusion that I couldn't live without him. Luna coquettishly clutched his arm. Marcus, I also want the engraved silver locket Grace wears around her neck. Let's go to Thailand next. That engraved silver locket is the token of affection I gave her. You think you are worthy. Luna's fingertips imperceptibly tightened. Marcus, I know you are worried that Mrs. Hayes might be tricked by a delivery guy. Let's go back home now. That rainy night, I felt like a child who had found her way home. The grievances of the past year poured out like a flood. Alex sat across from me. He gave me the illusion that I still had a blood relative in this world. I cried until I fell asleep, and a figure was always there beside me, just like my grandmother used to watch over me as I slept when I was little. Alex quietly closed the door and left. The rain outside was actually far from as heavy as he had claimed. Passing through Willow, he saw a light suddenly on in the familiar small house, and guessed that Grace must have returned. He stood under the eaves, half his face hidden in shadow, took out his phone, and made a call. I'm in River Bend. Yes, I've already sent you the coordinates. The next morning, several Maybachs were parked in front of the yard gate. That's when I realized Alex really was a big shot CEO. Men in black suits stood on either side, saying nothing, but exuding a powerful aura. Grace, I'm taking you to Germany for your leg. He said it very seriously, and hidden beneath his unkempt bangs, his eyes held a faint trace of heartache. Okay. While waiting for the visa, Alex arranged for specialists from Capital City Medical Center to give me a preliminary diagnosis. The results were less than ideal. Too much time has passed. Even with Dr. Klaus' specialist team, the chance of returning to the stage is only 50-50. It all depended on whether fate was on my side. Alex was busy, but he would chat with me every night. He was humorous and often made me burst into laughter. Unconsciously, the emotional knot in my heart no longer hurt. When I thought of Marcus again, he was nothing special. Sarah called. Grace, where are you? Marcus has gone crazy, he's kidnapped me. Sob. Marcus, don't hurt Sarah. My heart tightened, and my voice trembled involuntarily. Sarah was my best friend. She had a curvy figure, eyes that crinkled into crescent moons when she smiled, and a cheerful personality. She suffered this unjust misfortune because of me. Grace, please come back, okay? I promise I won't hurt her. He whispered softly, just like when we were deeply in love. I was furious, but I dared not provoke him. Okay. Alex was in a meeting at his company. I greeted him and went to Hayes with 2 bodyguards. After several days, Marcus looked haggard. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. You don't like Luna, so I won't see her anymore. Stop throwing tantrums. He glanced at the 2 men standing beside me, displeased. Don't forget you are Mrs. Hayes. Bringing 2 men back is just dragging my family's name through the mud. I didn't respond, only asking, where's Sarah? He gave a signal, and the guest room upstairs opened. Sarah scurried down the stairs. I breathed a sigh of relief, though her rounded face was so thin you could faintly make out the bones. Her waist-length hair, usually meticulously cared for, was now greasy, and matted against her scalp, and she had dark circles under her eyes. She looked terrible. Sarah pointed at Marcus and accused, "He tricked me into coming here, confiscated my phone, and locked me up for 2 days." Dave Eisen respectfully presented a phone, and she took it, dialing the police without hesitation. Marcus strode over and knocked her phone away, sneering, "You can blame Grace, it's all her fault for throwing tantrums. It was always like this, whatever he did, he could righteously blame me for everything. And most people advised me to tolerate it, saying I wasn't good enough." I clenched my fists, but Sarah tilted her head slightly, seemingly confused. "You illegally imprisoned me. Why are you blaming Grace?" Then, as if she realized something, she suddenly said, I understand." She suddenly stood on tiptoe, leaning close to Marcus' gloomy face, "because you're a coward who only blames others." Marcus' face instantly changed, and he raised his hand to slap her. I pulled Sarah away, then slapped him across the face. The air fell into dead silence. "Marcus." My tone was calm. "We are already divorced. You signed the divorce agreement yourself." It was my first direct confrontation with him, and it wasn't as terrifying as I had imagined. After a long pause, he laughed as if he'd heard a huge joke. "What can a cripple like you do after a divorce? You really think that delivery guy will support you? Do you believe I could get him fired with just one word?" I stared at him for a moment, feeling somewhat bewildered. It turned out that the soul beneath this facade I once loved was so wretched. "Give me back the engraved silver locket you gave me as a token of affection." That locket had once been a lifeline for me after hearing the rumors about him and Luna. I had sleepless nights. Only by clutching the engraved silver locket around my neck, as if clutching his promise tightly, could I find a sliver of peace. Seeing my silence, he smiled triumphantly. "Actually, you don't really want a divorce, do you?" Dave Eisen, who knew what was going on, looked utterly resigned. In his awkward gaze, I pointed to Buddy playing on the lawn outside the door. "Your precious engraved silver locket is right there." Marcus clenched his fists, which squeaked. "You gave the token of affection I gave you to a dog." I took a step back, and the 2 bodyguards shielded me from his glare. I felt safe. "Yes, you, and your love, are only fit for animals." I led Sarah away, and from behind, Marcus' warning came, "I was already reaching out to specialists in Germany for your leg. If you walk out that door, you'll be a cripple for life." I felt fearless. "Don't bother yourself." Walking out the mansion gates, the air felt fresh. Alex was leaning against a car, talking on his phone, his expression serious, exuding a stern aura. The moment I saw him, my taut nerves instantly relaxed. In this world, there seemed to be nothing left that could make me give up on life. I ran towards him. Seeing me, he immediately hung up the phone, and walked quickly towards me, grinning. "Weren't you in a meeting?" "Yeah, finished and came straight here." He hung up, and the smile in his eyes warmed my heart. Sarah weakly raised her hand beside me. "Wait, did you two forget there's a living, breathing person right here?" Marcus was detained by the police for 7 days for kidnapping Sarah. As soon as the news broke, Hayes' stock price plummeted in response, losing nearly $1 billion in market value. Without my support on the board of directors, his position at Hayes was precarious. Those elders who were already unhappy with him, as an outsider CEO, were now stirring. All I can say is, karma was swift. The visa was approved. Alex held my hand as we walked into the airport's VIP lounge. I walked with a noticeable limp, but this time, there were no uncomfortable stares from behind. The accompanying staff followed closely, their expressions serious. Such a simple gesture, yet I wanted to cry. It just goes to show that those who mocked my walking before were the ones who were truly flawed. Before takeoff, my phone kept ringing with unknown numbers. I simply turned it off, and comfortably nestled in the lounge chair, closing my eyes, feigning sleep. Marcus refused to divorce, so I could only pursue legal action. I entrusted all these matters to Alex. Before going abroad, I blocked Marcus and everyone related to him. But he clearly wasn't giving up. Alex was busy. His family's primary business was in Germany, but recently he seemed to be busy, expanding into the domestic market. My surgery was scheduled for a week later. During this time, I tended to flowers and fed fish at his mansion, trying my best to distract myself from the anxiety. But he seemed even more anxious than me. Several late nights, I passed his bedroom and could hear him on the phone, confirming the surgery details again and again. The night before the surgery, he stood on the balcony, smoking. When he saw me, he extinguished his cigarette butt and waved away the smoke. Alex, if the surgery is successful, how can I ever thank you? His eyebrow arched, and he said nonchalantly, I see you as a sister, I don't expect anything in return. I leaned in to look at him. His gaze darted away, and a blush spread from his neck across his entire face. His brownish eyes instantly cleared, like amber frozen in winter. But he quickly calmed down. Just as he was about to launch into a grand speech, I had already turned and walked away. I'm going to sleep now. You shouldn't stay up late either. The surgery was successful. On that same day, the divorce ruling from home also arrived. Under the stimulation of this double blessing, I confessed my feelings to Alex. He said he needed some time to think. However, he agreed the very next day. 6 months later, I could perform simple, stretching exercises. My former dance troupe back home, hearing that I was back on my feet, invited me to participate in a theatrical dance that wasn't too difficult but was a classic. Alex's PR team uploaded snippets of my past dance videos to short video platforms. The former dance prodigy was about to return, and audiences both at home and abroad were thrilled. I was full of confidence. Sarah called me and said Marcus and Luna were engaged. The engagement party was unprecedentedly grand and generated immense buzz. What, going abroad? She was clearly just looking for an excuse to find a sugar daddy. Marcus is just clueless, and actually believed her. After half a year, when I heard that name again, my heart had no reaction whatsoever. I just listened to it as gossip. One ordinary afternoon, I stood on a theatrical stage back home. Alex sat in the first row of the audience, looking up at my graceful leaps and bounds, his eyes unblinking. He was both proud and relieved. The stage performance ended perfectly to thunderous applause, and camera flashes gathered on me and the other lead performers. I looked at the man in the audience and blinked at him. After the curtain call, I waited for him backstage. Unexpectedly, I ran into Marcus. Thinking that the Hayes family sponsored this play, I wasn't surprised. I removed my makeup as usual and walked past him with my bag. Suddenly, he clutched my wrist tightly, his eyes bloodshot. Wife, I turned around and slapped him. Are you kidding me, you piece of trash? The people around us were shocked. Some recognized him as the CEO of Hayes, who had recently announced his engagement with great fanfare, but I wasn't the bride-to-be at that engagement party. Ignoring the rapidly swelling slap mark on his face and the whispered conversations around him, he stubbornly stared at me. Wife, I know I was wrong. Can we start over? I can explain everything to you. I coldly exposed him. Is it because Luna's father's shares are too little to support your position as CEO? His face turned pale. No matter what, we got married because we loved each other. How can you think that of me? Seeing that I was unmoved, he still tried to pull me closer. Several women from the dance troupe subtly blocked him. I was grateful to them, but Marcus seemed a bit crazy, and I was afraid they would get hurt. I shouted through the crowd to Alex, who was rushing over. Husband. Excuse me, I need to save my wife. Alex and I stood side by side, and I introduced him to Marcus. This is the delivery guy you always thought he was. We are getting married soon. I held up the engagement ring on my finger. Alex was low-key, so others didn't recognize him, but Marcus, as the heir to Hayes, couldn't possibly not know him. Among his peers, he was always the golden child. Marcus and I grew up as childhood sweethearts, and during the years I met Alex, the three of us were good friends. Later, Alex's grandmother passed away, and we never saw him during summer vacations again. But his family's position in the business world was not to be underestimated, and his presence was not something one could easily forget. I never expected to meet again in such circumstances. But you almost lost your beloved dance career to save me. How can you just forget that relationship?" Marcus' eyes were bloodshot, with a hint of tears. His voice aggrieved. Alex scoffed. "The accomplice is acting aggrieved now." He showed no intention of explaining and pulled me directly away. "The past is behind us, just look forward. Don't think about those troubling things anymore," he refused to say, so I forced myself to suppress my curiosity. He took me to meet his family elders. Robert and Susan seemed to already know about me, and made me feel warm and familiar. Later, in Alex's bedroom, I saw a photo album of me dancing. Susan then walked in, saying with a mix of helplessness and annoyance, "When found out you couldn't dance, he returned to the country overnight to take over the company, then shifted the development focus to Germany. He even had a huge fight with his father over it. That's when I knew something was weighing on his mind." Dr. Klaus' team was difficult to secure. Besides money, it required extensive connections in Germany. I knew Alex went to college in Germany, so I took it for granted that his family's business focus on Germany was normal. It turned out there were such complications behind it. He used to say he saw me as a sister from another mother and father. Susan pursed her lips. "That boy's quite good at pretending." On the day Alex and I got married, I received an unknown MMS message on my phone. It contained 2 chat screenshots. The profile pictures were the ones Luna and Marcus used. The first one: "Luna, I don't like Grace dancing on stage. Find a way to make sure she can never perform again and marries me. Okay. I want a promise from you, Mr. Hayes. After this is done, the promise will be valid forever." The second one: "Mr. Hayes, I am going abroad. I want to use that promise to exchange for an experience of being your wife. I promise I lines never bother you again. Okay." The first screenshot was taken half a month before I broke my ankle saving Marcus. This meant Marcus had been scheming against me all along. This was the thing Alex had kept from me. Then that call came in. It was Luna. Her voice was no longer sweet, laced with a crazed resentment. "Marcus called off our engagement. You are really pleased with yourself, aren't you? I'm telling you, your marriage was a scam. Why do you think the stage rigging suddenly detached? Even if you hadn't pushed him, he would have dodged it. Ha 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 ha. Oh. You are not angry. Don't you want to get revenge on him? How about I help you?" "No thanks. I've already recorded evidence." The wedding went smoothly. On the bright polished marble floor, in my peripheral vision, I saw myself elegantly looking towards the groom walking towards me. I had become humble and weak because I loved someone, and then, because someone loved me, I regained confidence and strength. After my parents passed away, I became someone who feared loneliness. I was afraid to live alone, afraid to walk alone, afraid to fly alone. But I didn't lack the courage to break free from difficult situations. During his speech, Alex, the powerful chairman, smiled like a goofball. My father-in-law let out a serious sigh of relief. His grandmother passed away, but he still kept running off to Seattle. It scared me. I thought he liked men. After the wedding, I submitted the evidence and sued Luna and Marcus for their harm against me, stating that I refused to accept any settlement. On the day of the hearing, Alex was negotiating a project and couldn't get away. I came with my lawyer, assistant, and bodyguards. It was the first time I met all of Marcus' family, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, his older brother David, younger brother Tom, younger sister Emily, paternal uncle Richard, paternal uncle Paul. I realized then that these people could speak properly. Ultimately, Marcus was sentenced to 3 years in prison for assault and battery. Luna, as an accomplice, was sentenced to 1 year and 5 months. Marcus had to step down as CEO of Hayes, and his older half-brother took over. His friends found me and told me Marcus never meant to hurt me. He did what he did because he was insecure. How laughable. Even after being legally judged, he still thought he was innocent. But I wasn't fixated on his right or wrong. I just want him to be punished. Those people paused, mumbled apologies, and fled in disarray. As I turned around, Alex was standing not far away. "Weren't you in a meeting?" "Yeah, finished and came straight here." The autumn air was crisp and clear. I took his warm hand and kissed him on the corner of his lips. The luckiest thing in life is setting things right.